I too had to wrestle with that, learning to trust myself. Learning to trust myself to take care of myself in difficult situations or difficult people. And it's still a work in progress on that. That could still be a challenge for me in my own life, but I love that that's been helpful for you, and I can certainly relate to that. So thank you for sharing that. As we begin to take responsibility for our lives, and we get to choose, and I get what you're saying, and I've had that experience too. I mean, it's really easy to be peaceful when we're alone, and all of that. But when we go back into the world, like a lot of us are doing now, a lot of the old patterns are there, a lot of the old triggers are there. Hopefully we've been using this time when haven't been confronted with that to build up our reserves, to build up our inner strength, to build up our intention and our determination to do things differently. Because the challenges will come. That seems to be the nature of life. We will be challenged. And remember, it's not the situation that's the problem. It's always and only how we see ourselves in that situation. And with that information now, we can deal more effectively when the challenges come up. So number one is just what Dee Dee was saying a moment ago. It's as we learn to trust ourselves. So when the challenges come up, when the difficult situations come up, we trust ourselves to not go off down the path we used to go. But related to that is, so number two is having the experience of being different in those situations. So even for me, just before the workshop started, I had an opportunity to practice setting a boundary. And I still feel uncomfortable at times when I set boundaries with other people, when I stand up for myself and set a boundary. So it's by practicing that, by actually doing that, that helps us change how we see ourselves. That experience builds our sense of that we can take care of ourselves. Because remember, the affirmation is only the first part of the equation. Then we have to put that into action. Take those actions, take those steps, walk through the fear. So I think as you go out into the world again, I know you've been home for a couple of weeks, as you go back out into your world, notice that you'll have opportunities to actually put all this stuff into practice. And when you do that, it'll build a new sense of who you are in the world in terms of all of that. And then number three is, one of the things I talk about, in particular, like in 12-step recovery, I say one of the ways I measure my recovery is by how much drama I have in my life. And I'm happy to say that most days my life is pretty boring. But there's a flip side to that, because we get so addicted to the anger and to the conflict and to the drama that when it's gone, we will unconsciously gravitate back towards that. I was in a 12-step program, and they call that, I think I mentioned this before, they call that stability boredom. That when things are good, we can't handle that because we're missing the adrenaline, we're missing the drama, we're missing the conflict, we're missing the blame and all of that. So what I would suggest maybe for you is to find a new way to find excitement in your life. Self-confidence, I define confidence or self-confidence. When I first got, many years ago, I realized I was lacking in confidence, self-confidence. And so I went to the dictionary and I looked up the definition of the word confidence. And the first definition is the one we're all familiar with, self-assurance, positive sense of self and all that. But as I went down the list, there was another definition for a confidence, like a noun, a confidence, and that was a trusting relationship. Like confidence, you tell somebody something in confidence or confidential, and that's a trusting relationship. You can trust that other person. So where I went with that was self-confidence is a trusting relationship with myself. I can trust myself to speak up for myself in an appropriate way. I can trust myself to be nice to myself if I mess something up, to forgive myself. I can trust myself to be my own best friend instead of my own worst enemy. So that's what I like. When I think of confidence now, that's at least one of the things that I try to tie into it.